Enjoy the convenience of 7 days a week banking and extended hours with Cube from First Arkansas Bank and Trust. Member FDIC. It's time for From the Short Grass with Trey Schaap, a golf podcast for those who love golf, struggle with golf, and just like to enjoy the outdoors and fellowship with friends, all while chasing a ball around trying to put it in a 4 1/4 inch diameter hole. From the Short Grass is brought to you by Blackman Auctions. For over 80 years, better auctions have always been Blackman Auctions. By MinnowsPlus.com. From baits to waders, if it helps you catch a fish, they have it. And now, from the Short Grass, here is your host, Trey Schaap.
Welcome to another edition of From the Short Grass. Olympic golf gets started this week in Japan at Kasuga Gaseki Country Club in Tokyo. Colin Morikawa, Justin Thomas, Patrick Reed, and Xander Schauffele make up the United States team. Bryson DeChambeau was on the U.S. team but tested positive for COVID and was replaced by Patrick Reed. You can watch the Olympic golf competition live overnight on the Golf Channel, and if you miss it, then they will replay it twice during the following day. So plenty of opportunities for you to watch the Olympic golf competition, and hopefully the USA can bring home the gold. Last time in Brazil, Justin Rose was the gold medal winner at the Olympics. Coming up on From the Short Grass this week, we sit down with Commissioner Greg Sankey of the Southeastern Conference. No, we're not going to talk Texas and OU coming into the SEC, but we are going to talk about the time when he was a golf coach and he played behind Charles Barkley with Kirby Smart and in front of Nick Saban at the Regents Tradition this year. I hope you enjoy our interview with the Commissioner, Greg Sankey. I want to tell you about Blackman Auctions. Since 1938, better auctions have always been Blackman Auctions. Go find them on the web at blackmanauctions.com. Check out their auctions. If you like auctions, you need to go to their auctions. Or if you think you need to have an auction, they are the ones to call when it's time for you to have an auction. blackmanauctions.com. We're back after this. Commissioner Greg Sankey will be on the tee. Stay with us.
Minnows Plus is your local source for live bait and live well supplies. They carry the entire line of SureLife products, everything from better bait and finer shiner to no ammonia products to keep your bait and your catch thriving till you get back to the dock. They are the best source for all your private land ponds. Minnows Plus has fish food and pond fertilizer to keep your pond healthy and thriving all year long. If you own or run a bait and tackle shop and need to resupply, contact Minnows Plus and ask about their wholesale prices. Open to the public and walk-ins are welcome. Find them on the web at minnowsplus.com.
This is Thomas Blackman with Blackman Auctions. Me sponsoring a golf show is great irony. I've been a phenomenally bad golfer for 30 years. I don't know the difference between a penalty area and a bunker. I like it, but I'm really bad. You listen to this show and to Trey because he's a great golfer and knows the game backwards and forwards. I know auctions like Trey knows golf. I've been a professional auctioneer for 30 years. I know auctions. Trey knows golf. Listen to the correct expert. Call me to learn about auctions, not Trey. Since 1938, better auctions are Blackman Auctions.
Welcome back to From the Short Grass. Now on the tee, the Commissioner of the Southeastern Conference, Greg Sankey.
Commissioner, thanks for sitting down and coming on this golf podcast.
Thank you. It's a great topic, and I had an active golf spring, and then it ended in late May. So the only time I touched my club since late May was to put them in my garage.
But wait a second. Didn't you play in the Regions?
I did, yeah.
Pro-Am?
Yeah, so I actually became intentional about every week doing something, playing 9 holes, going to the range, grabbed a lesson because of a couple rounds I played, that being one. And let's just say I played at nice places. I'll let you draw it out of me because it'll make it more fun.
Well, Shoal Creek
I've not done that yet.
You haven't?
I've been invited. I haven't.
Are you a member anywhere here in Birmingham?
Greystone
Okay.
And the Country Club of Birmingham.
Country Club of Birmingham is pretty nice. 36 holes out there, the east and the west. The west is the more difficult course.
That's right. Yeah, and so I've not played 18 out there. I've played probably 12 of the west holes. I played a bunch of 9s. Eric Eichelman, the pro, is PGA Pro of the Year. Great helped for me because I hadn't played for 10, 12 years. I played regularly, not great, before. And so just trying to find an outlet. And I loved the game, but when I worked for Mike's Live, he didn't appreciate the game. So you'd get a phone call and you'd be on 20 minutes and, you're 2 holes past with your foursome. And so my kids were at an age where I just didn't have time. But we've moved in a little bit closer and want to take advantage of just being outdoors and enjoying life.
Well, now that you are the boss, you could leave the office early if you wanted to and actually get in more holes, could you not?
Well, when I was active in March and April and May, I figured out I could pop out on a day at 4:30 and finish 9 fully, and this is when we lived out a little bit further with traffic. So we downsized and are probably 5 minutes from the course now. And so yes, you could do that, but I don't know if you've noticed there are some expectations put upon me.
Well, there are, and you're a busy man, and I appreciate you sitting down with us and giving us some of your time. The Regions Tradition golf tournament that you participated in the Pro-Am, there are some big names that come out for that one.
I stood next to Bernard Longer, who's carrying his bag in the cart barn. It started to rain a little bit, and I'm like, that guy's got a green jacket walking by me, and he was just as normal as could be. I played with Steve Stricker, Kirby Smart, and John Turner, the Regions Bank CEO, and really had an enjoyable time. Steve was awesome. Talked about the Ryder Cup a little bit.
I was going to say, he's the Ryder Cup captain this year,
Yeah, Whistling Straits. Played at Wisconsin, lives up there. Just a really enjoyable day.
Charles Barkley, he's a guy that I think is a guy that loves the game of golf, isn't very good at it, but it seems like he's getting better. Were you able to see any of his game?
He was in the foursome ahead of us.
Oh, boy.
And Nick Saban was in the foursome behind us.
Did Coach Saban hit into you?
No, I told him today. So there were 2 moments. One I knew about and one I didn't. So the number 1 tee, there's a group, and you're like, just get it off the tee. I've done that one other time in life where there's a group gathered, and you're like, just let me advance it.
Don't mess up.
Right. And literally tried putting the ball in the ground. My hand's trembling a little bit, so I had to take my time. And I think Kirby had hit first, and then I hit, or I'm sorry, I hit first. I just stepped up, and I paid attention to the pro, kept the elbow in.
You hit a good one.
Didn't overswing. I was solid. And Curry's like, holy cow! Like, how much do you play? Because he's played before, and I got off the tee well that day. But 10 is a par 3, and it's built a little bit like a stadium atmosphere. There's tents and there's a lot of people there. And once I got through 1, I'm like, well, the crowd's behind me. There are people following us. At 10, there's a bigger crowd. Mm-hmm. It's a par 3. So I was right of the green, a little bit short of the pin, pretty close to being pin high. Got up and down for my par. I'm like, yeah. And Nick's group was behind us, and you hear king, kong, bump, and it hit the pavilion. Somebody did. I don't.
No one owned up to it?
I didn't know who it was, but I'm like, that was my fear, is that I'd be knocking things into the metal and ringing the bell somehow.
So what did you see from playing behind Barkley?
His swing is different than the videos on social media. It's smoothed out. The big kind of hitch thing. People follow him. He has fun. How about that? I don't know how he scored, and we had an enjoyable group that day. And that's a really neat event that they put on here. A real credit to Greystone, to Regions Bank, that just the atmosphere is a lot of fun.
And golf is a sport that you can play at a young age, middle age, and later in life.
Yeah. So I played baseball, basketball, ice hockey when I was younger. Not a lot of golf. Went out to Cranebrook Golf Course outside Auburn, New York. It's actually in Troop, spelled Throop. It's 9 holes, not spectacular, but you could get on. And my brother and I would do that. And then I coached college golf for a few years. And watching and being around, my game advanced to where it wasn't an embarrassment. And so enjoyed playing. And played probably into my late 30s, early 40s. And then just life took over. And I got to a point where, you're right, I'm now in my mid-50s, and the opportunity to enjoy myself has a golf course in it from time to time.
You brought up college golf. Last year, the pandemic kind of destroyed everything early 2020. And then the Golf Channel, the Blessings Golf Club, and the University of Arkansas came together. That was the first golf event, and it was broadcasted nationwide on the Golf Channel from Fayetteville, Arkansas. How important was it for the league and golf and athletics in general to see that.
I think highly important. And I sent everybody that I knew touched it directly. John Tyson, Blessing staff, the Golf Channel, just thank you. And the network, the SEC network, had to have some give in there too. And our coaches had to come together to make it happen. We'd never played a combo men's and women's event the way we did. But, man, it was cool watching it. And the men's finish, the Kentucky story carrying the bag of a teammate lost, just that's why we do what we do. I mean, for all I've answered 50 million name, image, and likeness, Supreme Court, COVID testing questions, but just like a blessing. I'll literally I don't mean to misappropriate the term from the course, but I cited over and over how important and just phenomenal it was to see that happen.
And the Golf Channel was there in 2019 when Maria Fossey, Arkansas Razorback, won the women's NCAA championship.
Yep. Yeah, and there was a lot of rain, right? If
yeah.
I remember between watching rounds and wanted the team because the team had played so well for so long and the chance to be at home, but special for Maria. You transfer it forward to this year, the Ole Miss effort, the Texas match early in the day, and to come back and go to 23 holes in a couple matches and then win. I thought, wow, that just take the emotion out of you. And they were playing Arizona that afternoon. Do I have
I believe
right?
so.
And on an Arizona course, you're
right.
like, wow, maybe they'll be spent. And then to come back and they played Oklahoma State. Just the emotion, focus, joy. The last year was hard. Mike Leach once in a press conference said that the fun's out of the game. And, I didn't want to say he's right, but it wasn't the same kind of experience. But the joy in those moments was pretty special. Lance's team winning a national championship, watching on my iPad, those are special moments.
When you look at golf and its place in the NCAA and collegiate athletics, not every school can afford to have it. Obviously, the SEC, being at the Power 5 conference level, can, all of its institutions. How important is it for the youngsters growing up today to know that if they focus and hone their craft, specifically women and young girls, that they're going to have a chance to get an education and play at a school?
In my experience, and I spent 3 years leading a team at a place that doesn't have a team any longer because of the facility challenges, that's the best way to go to college I've seen. Just you play on courses. I'd go in with these guys that grew up in pro shops. They'd touch every putter in the pro shop, every place we went. And this was not high end. We were traveling an old Ford Econoline van, and you could literally pick up the floor mat and see the road. We found one day, and a lot of van rides, but a lot of camaraderie. And you watch the junior golf and the talent that's out there, and I think those access points are important because it leads to education and further diversifying the game. I think is clearly a point of the USGA and the PGA and the LPGA, and continuing that effort into college is meaningful as well.
Seeing some of the SEC athletes succeed to the next level. Taylor Moore from a Razorback won on the Korn Ferry Tour, and he now has his tour card to go next year and compete at the highest level.
Going to Augusta and seeing logos on bags from guys, the Georgia guys and the Florida guys have a culture where they've got that G or that gator head. It's pretty special.
Have you played Augusta?
I did this year.
How was it? You have to tell me.
I played the Monday after the Masters, so the media are invited. And
but
so
you're not the media.
They get to invite people. So I was a guest of CAA, or ESPN, I'm sorry. Maybe CAA, who does our media negotiation. The pins were in the same spot. They didn't mow it down. Tees were up probably a bit, as you can imagine. So my heart was pounding on number one. There's hardly anybody there, but you know what it is. So I pulled it left. I did not hit the Regions drive. On the par threes, I parred 3 of the 4. So I went up there, and number 4 was to the right on the green. It was uphill. It was a pretty good carry, and 2 putted. And then number 6, pinned back right. I hit past the pin. Yeah, I hit past the pin. I think I putted from just past the green in 2. We'll skip 12 and 16.
No. We can't skip 12.
Yes, 12 wasn't kind.
Did you go into Rays Creek?
Little short, and then a little short again, and then.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Tiger had a big score there one time. So did Jordan Spieth. It happens.
Yep, and then got to 16, and I sat on Sunday. So I stayed for 4 days. I had an invitation I was playing, and I only was going to go for 2 days and some meetings. And so I sat between 15 and 16 on Sunday. Usually I'll sit on 7 green because you can see 4 holes. There's a great viewing area. And then you can jump up to 18, and there were so few patrons. It was awesome. And so I'd gone to 7, and then some guys went through, and I'm like, if there's going to be anything that happens, it will be on 15, 16. Because, just the lead and the gap was so big. Well, sure enough, here they come into 15, 16, and I'm watching guys firing over the green into the water hazard on 16, which I never realized happened with that frequency, but you don't want to be short on Sunday there. And so you see the ball come flying over, and it goes in the water, and Schauffele had a chance. And literally, since I'd sat there for hours, the only real wind happened right as he walked to the tee. And I don't know if he missed club, but the play was middle of the green, 2-putt, go to the next hole. Matsuyama hits in, Schauffele's going over, so it's going to be a one-shot deal. And then he hits it short left in the water. And I was in the one place where it mattered.
Right, you got to see it.
Yeah.
Which football coach, because golf coaches, they can play, specifically in this league. Which football coach do you think has the best golf game?
I don't know that I'm an expert. I've talked to Dan about it, plays with his son. He's had a hole-in-one, so we talked at media days. Nick had a hole-in-one. I know he plays, takes it seriously. Played with Kirby. He just hasn't had time. He's got young kids, so he's going to be where I was for years. And I honestly haven't asked them beyond that if they play a lot. So I know those guys do.
The SEC has its men's tournament at St. Simon Island in Georgia, and the women's tournament is right here in Central Alabama at Greystone. Is there any thought of potentially moving those locations, or is it pretty solid that that's where they're going to be?
We've done this based on our coaches' feedback and been really happy with the way we're treated at both locations. It's special. The legacy at Sea Island is long. Like, you look at the guys that competed and won this thing, there's some names on that deal. And we put that up every year. The course here at Greystone Legacy is a really good track, a good test of golf, and people have been positive about the accommodations and the experience. So it just hasn't come up in a while. We've looked at it, but finding places is a challenge, and people have been really pleased in current spots.
You were in the office when Commissioner Slive and the SEC network was launched.
Yeah.
The fact that they carry golf as well, was that in the plans early on, or did that evolve over time?
No, that evolved because originally those cross-country golf, some others were just highlight shows. And so the first couple of years, and I took over after the first academic year of the SEC network, we started talking about how can we feature our championships in a more complete way. And a lot of credit to Charlie Hussey. A lot of the folks that work on the Golf Channel production are with us. We had Judy Rankin once or twice commenting. I mean, how cool is that for our student athletes? I'm talking about the women's tournament. And
you got Steve Melnick on the men's.
Yeah, he lives at Seattle, so he just walks over. But great voice, great perspective on the course and on the game. Peter Burns is like breathless out there as the on-course reporter, and it's fascinating to watch because it's a leapfrog production. It's just the skill of what they do from a production standpoint, and you get to feature Saturday matches digitally, and then Sunday, we're first to finish with featuring our 2 championship competing golf teams.
Is golf solid in the SEC? I know the women, Ole Miss, just won a national championship. You've had national championships in the men's as well. How solid is golf in the SEC?
Yeah, very. In fact, I was golf is what it is. You never know. And I thought our men were going to play at that high level too. We had 3 teams that I thought, based on what I'd seen through the year, could have gone in to the championship play. And just ball bounces the wrong way, rub of the green, right? So very strong. You've seen investment in facilities and in personnel and in travel and in national scheduling. We're just in a different time, and people are going to ask questions about sports sponsorship, but I don't see anything wavering around the sport of golf. And really, I've encouraged people this is not the conference where you alter sports sponsorship.
It might be a question for the USGA on amateurism and the name, image, likeness when it comes to golf.
Yeah, I think they've made some modifications.
Right, they have.
Yeah.
Some. But basically the sky's the limit. We see what some football players are getting. Who's to say that a golf manufacturer might find some hot stud junior and come in and throw a lot of cash at
As
them?
we were going through the consideration of rules, bylaws, strategy, I said golf. Just from my experience and knowing a little bit about junior golf, you can ride that high level junior golfer early. They can come in with outfit and whatever. Now they do pretty well now.
They do real well.
Yeah, it's the best way to go to college. I told you that.
You did. Last question.
You didn't ask me. I played South Lake in Atlanta too.
East Lake.
I'm sorry, South Lake. That's actually out near Dallas.
Yeah, that's in Dallas. That's
East
a town.
Lake.
That's a town in Dallas.
So my 3 full rounds were the Regions Pro-Am, Augusta, and East Lake.
2 of those are very good.
Yeah. It was,
I've played one of them, East Lake.
yeah, it was fun.
I haven't played Augusta
That
yet.
par 3, it was 18 for us, or maybe 9 or 18. It's 9 on
9.
Yeah, so
and
we
it's
played
18 because they reversed
the
the
full
nines.
carry up the hill
Yes.
to finish. I pulled out my hybrid, and I put it about 15 feet.
There you go.
Yeah, so that's when I had played enough that I had some level of consistency.
Yeah.
I walked away with pride.
There you go. You got to walk away with pride. That's what brings you back. Shots
Yep.
like that.
Can I just add one more to that?
Sure.
I was with some USGA folks, PGA folks, and they were talking about pivoting the messaging around golf from score to story, just like that. Hey, what did you shoot at East Lake? I don't know, but par 3 uphill, knocked it 15 feet with my hybrid wood.
Well, I've always told people that you don't have to draw pictures on a scorecard. You just have to put a number down. Last question. What's in your golf bag? What clubs you playing? What is the commish play?
Yeah, I've got a set of Titleists that I was fitted for when I had these Ping I2s, blue dots, that I bought in 1987 from the facility manager at Utica College. I was the brand new intramural sports director, made $15,000 a year. I had some Northwestern Golf, bought at Kmart or something like that. And his kids gave him these. He was playing these Wilson blades, and he had these really nice pings, square grooves, played twice, and he hated them. But he didn't want to tell his kids he was giving them back. And so I didn't have enough money to buy him. He sold me club by club, like $35 a club for a 10 club set. It's all I could afford. I paid him over a couple of months. And I played with those clubs from 87 into like the late 2000s, and then I put them aside. I still have them. And then when I decided to start back, I'm like, that's a little bit old technology. So then when I started, I was completely misclubbed because I was 25 yards just because of the quality of the workmanship.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to forgive me of the model, but it's all Titleist through and through.
T100s, T200s, or T300s.
What's newer and better?
That's the new line, the T100s. I mean, you used
I think
to have
they're T100s.
Yeah, you used to have the AP2s, so the AP1s.
I think it's the T100s.
Well, there you go. I mean, you've got the money now to get fitted and afford it.
I wanted to enjoy it.
Our thanks to Greg Sankey. Minnows Plus is now an authorized Frog Togs dealer. That's right. You can get Frog Togs outerwear at Minnows Plus. You can shop online, minnowsplus.com, for all of your outerwear need. When you go outdoors, hunting, fishing, minnowsplus.com, they have it all, and we thank them for their sponsorship of From the Shortgrass. We're back after this. Adam Carney coming up with our rules segment. Stay with us.
This is Thomas Blackman with Blackman Auctions. Me sponsoring a golf show is great irony. I've been a phenomenally bad golfer for 30 years. I don't know the difference between a penalty area and a bunker. I like it, but I'm really bad. You listen to this show and to Trey because he's a great golfer and knows the game backwards and forwards. I know auctions like Trey knows golf. I've been a professional auctioneer for 30 years. I know auctions. Trey knows golf. Listen to the correct expert. Call me to learn about auctions, not Trey. Since 1938, better auctions are Blackman Auctions.
Minnows Plus is your local source for live bait and live well supplies. They carry the entire line of SureLife products, everything from better bait and finer shiner to no ammonia products to keep your bait and your catch thriving till you get back to the dock. They are the best source for all your private land ponds. Minnows Plus has fish food and pond fertilizer to keep your pond healthy and thriving all year long. If you own or run a bait and tackle shop and need to resupply, contact Minnows Plus and ask about their wholesale prices. Open to the public and walk-ins are welcome. Find them on the web at minnowsplus.com.
Now on the tee, Master PGA professional with a specific interest on the rules of golf. Here's Adam Carney.
Adam, today I want to talk to you about listening to music or watching television. Believe it or not, with the smartphones nowadays, you're able to take everything pretty much where you go. So let's go to the golf course. Now we see these Bushnell rangefinders that can also play music and everything. Is that legal in tournament play now to listen to music or watch a sporting event or television.
It is now. It wasn't when, at the advent of the first, let's say, iPod or, smartphone.
Mobile music device.
Yeah, mobile music
Walkman.
device, whatever, Walkman. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to remember, it was Zorn Zorek. I don't know if anyone will remember that name. Played on the PGA Tour. He was Canadian. They called him, no, it wasn't Zorn. It was, what was his name? Richard Zorek. Sorry. They called him Disco Dick. And he was known for wearing a cassette player on his hip and headphones, and he put it on after he hit a shot, and he was the one that actually got the rule changed where you couldn't listen to music. So the long story is, yes, you can. The question is, what's the purpose? So, for example, if you're listening to, say, Tchaikovsky, because that composer happens to work with the fluid motion of the swing that you're trying to create, then it would be a breach of the rules. If you're watching something that's going to give you advice, like, the
Weather Channel?
Well, no, the Weather Channel would be different. We can't use certain items that are going to give us, well, like, for example, we can't use something on the golf course that's going to give us an actual up-to-date current wind speed. However, I can check an app, the Weather Channel app, and see, hey, if I'm playing in Jonesboro, Arkansas, where's the wind blowing from right now? It's blowing out of the north-northeast at 4
Or is there a
miles an hour.
thunderstorm coming close to me?
Correct. So, it's those types of things are okay. Watching TV, I think we talk about, what do we watch? Hey, look, I'll play today, but, the Razorbacks are on or the Red Wolves are on, and I want to watch the ball game, but I still want to play in the member guest or, whatever. That's okay. The difference would be, and to give an example of something that would never happen, Trey and I are playing in the Masters. And
yes, that would never happen.
I'll give you the benefit of the doubt and say that you're leading, and I'm 3 or 4 groups ahead of you.
Well, now we are getting into fiction. Yeah. That would definitely never happen.
So you're in the last group on Sunday, and you're standing on number 10 tee, and we all know that the Masters begins with at the last 9 on Sunday.
Tee shot on 12.
Tee shot on 12 is the one shot you're thinking about. If you've got to hit that shot, once that shot's over, you can win the Masters. But if I had the opportunity, which I can, because the Masters.org, Augusta actually has a telecast where I could get onto the telecast, through whatever, CBS, I guess, and watch each player go through the 12th hole and see what's happening. And I see a multitude of players coming up short. It's hard at 12 to figure out what the wind is actually doing.
Right.
But I see on average more players are coming up short. I'd rather hit it in the back bunker or over the green and get it up and down and make 3, or take the chance of making 4 than hit it in the water and work hard to make 5.
So you basically find out that I need to take 1 extra club than what I would normally take.
Because I've got audio too, right? So
yeah.
it says, hey, Trey Schaap just hit a 9-iron that got halfway up the slope and came back in, and then this guy did this, and we're seeing balls consistently come up short at 12, and I'm standing back on 10T. That's information that I've gathered that's going to help me. So under those circumstances, no, I that would have to be a breach of the rules.
So basically, if it's not to gain an advantage or information that you would use to help you in your round,
correct,
or to get a tempo
correct
for your swing,
help you with your golf swing,
then everything else, then you're fine.
Yeah, and there is a not a note, but it's stated in the rule, I believe, that as long as it's not disruptive to your fellow competitors or your opponent match play, then
you don't want to blow their eardrums off.
But yeah, I mean, the reality of the situation is recreational golfers, and look, I've been a club professional for the vast majority of my life. We want people to go out and enjoy the game of golf. That has changed over the years, and that picture has changed over the years. If I have the choice of having a member out playing golf and being able to watch that ball game while they're playing golf or listening to it on the radio versus not having any players today because
they're all sitting at home watching it.
They're all sitting at home watching it
or
on TV.
in the 19th hole.
Exactly. So it's probably a good decision. No one's gaining any advantage from that. In fact, if you were competing or, you're out playing for some entry fees other than a tournament, it would probably distract you more than anything else. So I would say it would be more of a hindrance than a help.
He's Adam Carney. I am Trey Schaap. If you've got a question on the rules of golf, we will get it answered right here on From the Shortgrass, just email us fromtheshortgrass@gmail.com.
That will do it for this edition of From the Shortgrass. I want to thank Commissioner Greg Sankey for taking some time out of his very hectic schedule, and as always, Adam Carney in our Rules of Golf segment. I leave you with this golf quote. It comes from an anonymous person. Golf can be best defined as an endless series of tragedies obscured by the occasional miracle. I hope you have fun next time you're on the golf course, and remember, always repair your ball marks on the greens and a couple of more, and I hope to see you from the Shortgrass.
You've been listening to From the Shortgrass, a weekly podcast dedicated to the game of golf. From the Shortgrass is brought to you by MinnowsPlus.com and Blackman Auctions. This has been a presentation of the Buzz Radio Network.